Hello everybody and welcome to a new game called Tiny Bunny. This is a visual novel, a horror visual novel, I believe. Here, let me adjust the volume. Where you play as a little kid who I think sees nightmares and stuff. Don't know much. This game is almost 2 years. From recording this, it's Saturday, 2 days from recording this, is the 2-year anniversary for this game. Now, there's 3 episodes to this game. The first episode is free. The 2 other episodes is not yet to pay. I'm only going to be playing the first episode because I just don't want to pay for the 2 other episodes. But if you want to check out this game, the first episode is free on Steam. The other 2 aren't. Don't know much about this game. I just saw this game about a year ago, forgot about it, and then I just saw it again because I didn't know at the time it was free. I just found out, so I thought I'd make a video on it. Let's make a new game. Well, also, if you see a bladder in the background of me, ignore it. Leak in the ceiling. The wind clawed at my window all night long. It wandered the fields and howled like a hungry beast. An endless song weaved from all sorts of voices, shrill, gently sneering and twined in the air. They were shouting and laughing and arguing about something. Someone was running through the snow while casting long shadows that would occasionally creep close to my bed. Our house had a mind of its own, the creaky old mind of building that had seen a lot in its days, and was seemingly trying to share its wisdom with the inhabitants. The lonely house faced the forest, and the dark green thicket gazed back with its hollow eyes, rustling, whizzing, swaying back and forth. One could come out and stand at the edge of the forest to reassure themselves there was nobody behind the crooked trees. Fuzzy silhouettes swaying in the wind couldn't possibly do any harm. It's just a play of light and shadow. Just a play. I knew it was just my imagination. I was already 12 after all. Still, hey, put away your book. How many times have I told you? I don't know. I told you not to read at the table. It's bad for your health. Look at how slouched you are. Yeah, reading's totally bad for you. I don't want to hide that. No. Reading is not bad for you. No, eat your food. I don't want to hide it. Like, what if I don't hide it? Fine, I'll hide it. I didn't protest and put the book about Conan and the barbarian side. I was stuck on a line. I couldn't understand after reading it 3 times anyway. Olia had already finished her breakfast and was munching on some cookies. She was so enthusiastic. She almost looked like your typical girl from commercials. You're not going anywhere until you finish all of that. I, on the other hand, was still trying to drill a hole in the plate with my eyes, as if it would make the porridge disappear. Hazy, anxious, wailed up inside, all because of previous sleepless night, the black forest around our house, and the gloomy wind. The longer I waited, the colder the lumpy white substance became. It looked like a jellyfish from the Cousteau Odyssey. I love that show. I wonder how horrifying the bottom of the ocean is, or how cold the black forest is at night. The spoon fell out of my hand. Mom showered me with a cold glare from her green eyes. What did I just say? I'll get it. I had 10 seconds to catch my breath before battling the nasty porridge once again. I felt around for the spoon. What is this carved on the other side of the table? Karina. That does not say Karina. I don't know how, that's Kapna. That is not Karina, that's Kapna. Right? Am I insane? That's my mom's name. I guess she carved it out with something pointy when she was little. She sure was rascal damaging the furniture like that. She would scold me for a week if I told something similar, though. Should I remind her about it? No, she's been a bit of a bad mood lately. I imagined her being my age sitting under this table. I wonder, was Mom afraid of the dark back then? Or the sounds coming from the attic? Or the thick forest? I imagined my grandma coming into my little mom's room, sitting on the edge of her bed where Olia sleeps nowadays, and saying this in her soft, smooth voice. Taja is a special place, little girl. It's watching you closely, sniffing you out, trying to discern what kind of beast you are. If you are a good sort, it won't abandon you in times of trouble. But if you're a bad apple, it'll grab you by the side and drag you under the ground. And that would be it. Grandma was caring. She never fought with anybody, never yelled, never swore. Those were the times without the maddening screams until late at night, without smashing dishes and mutual accusations. Our parents used to love each other back then. I remember listening in on one of their conversations by chance. They were talking about Grandma getting prepared for her funeral. She had already bought a casket. Oh. Wait, she knows her death is coming? And she called it her cute funeral box. No. Okay, I'm gonna say right now, if you're a young age, you shouldn't be watching this video. It's a horror game, so I think that's common sense, but like, okay, like 11 or under, don't watch this. Still. It waited for its time in the closet patiently. It was black, upholstered with neat, colored material on the inside. I saw it when my grandpa was getting buried. The house didn't change the time she was alive. Only all of the photos were gone. This is a 12-year-old saying this, right? This is not a 12-year-old. Glass-covered pictures with gray faces of my ancestors. They all had a dead but watchful look in their eyes. I crawled out from under the table. Olia was done with her cookies and was looking at my share like a sly woodland critter. I turned my gaze toward the frosted window. There are a lot of dark pines outside, but they didn't grab my attention. The pattern of frost formed a picture on the glass. Olia, look, it's a fox. Where? It looked almost like those optical illusion thingies they put on the back of student notebooks. A mixture of lines at first glance, but you blur your vision a little bit and look under a certain angle. Not outside on the window. No, not outside, on the window. Look, here's the nose, and here... Hey, eat up! Yes, just a moment. I don't see anything. Hurry up, there's not much left. There it is, but it still doesn't look like one. And I'm telling you, it does. It does. Stop it, these kids, I swear. Now I couldn't see the fox either. It disappeared, went away. Only the frosty patterns similar to stretched out little leaves kept creeping up the glass. My dad entered the kitchen with long measured steps. I want to have a beard like his when I grow up. Mom would always ask jokingly, come on, shave it off. It stings. This was so long ago. Nowadays, rumbling doors and witty comebacks were an everyday occurrence. Olia always covers her ears whenever she hears something like, what's the point of all this, through the wall. Yeah, this is not something that should be going through a 12-year-old's head. Divorce, I'm guessing, is happening between parents. It's all for your sake, Dad would reply, for the sake of our family. I always caught every sound in fear of hearing the most dreaded and deadliest word that started with a D. The Devo? I don't even want to finish it. It was scary to imagine that me and my little sister could be torn apart and taken into two different families. Anyway, your fox is nothing. I have an owl on my window. You and your owl talk again. You said you believed me just yesterday. I keep pressing right click. You said you believed me just yesterday. Has anybody seen my car keys? I remember leaving them on the windowsill. Right. Maybe you did and maybe not. You're a grown man, a father of two, and still. Karina, please stop. Just let me get ready in peace. Your keys are in the basket near the phone. Well, thank you very much. Anton, stop making a murder out of yourself and finish eating already. And the owl? There was no owl. But there was one. It had giant glowing eyes. Olia sprung up from the chair and placed her hands on her little face, intimidating a pair of eyes with her fingers the size of an apple each. Last year you had Babai in your closet, and now it's this owl? But I saw it. Olia shifted her gaze back and forth from Dad to Mom to me, but couldn't get any support. Have you thought about befriending it? You know, like feeding it with imaginary mice? Don't bully our girl. She's just afraid to sleep alone because she's a little girl. Olia pouted her lips in rebellion and rushed into the hallway. The staircase that led to the second floor creaked. Mom gave Dad a strict look. Oh, that look in her eyes. It's so uncomfortable to be pinned under it. Dad just snorted in reply and left ringing with the keys he just found. A minute passed, and the theme song from The Little Mermaid echoed through the house. It was stored in an incredibly worn cassette tape, which Dad already had to glue together once. It's so easy to fix objects by gluing them back together, for example. But how do you fix a relationship? Like, seriously, why is a 12-year-old thinking this stuff? Mom moved into the living room, and I was left alone, anxiously stealing glances out the window. Olia had trouble sleeping ever since we moved to this house. She would toss and turn or curl up into a ball under her blanket. Sometimes she would jump in the middle of the night and turn on the VCR. Cartoons helped her to take her mind off all the troubles we had with the move and our parents. Oh. And then Olia said she saw that giant flying monster outside her window. Yeah, that would be unsettling to see. She became obsessed with it. Our parents did everything in their power. They tried everything, every little trick to get rid of those ridiculous fears. Olia refused to sleep alone and didn't believe that the owl was just one of her nightmares. After night, I was unsure what to make sure of my sister's words, what to think of it myself. Can nightmares be infectious? Just last night, I could get a wink of a sleep and ended up thinking about what to expect in my new school. There were a couple of days left before the beginning of the new term. My imagination drew long, twisted hallways that led to a classroom of full kids. But all the students behind their desks were simply dark figures cut out using a template. Circular holes gaped in the middle of their faces, and pairs of eyes blinked inside those holes. It was as if some completely different creature were looking at me from behind the flat black silhouettes. Their cruel glares, filled with icy sneers, made me shiver from head to toe. Will I survive here? Won't they gang up on me and beat me down, stomp on me with their bloodied shoes? The damn school can burn for all I care. I just wished for anything that happened to it. It doesn't really matter what. I didn't want to go there that badly. I didn't want to see people who are just itching to smack me on the head, trip me up, think of new offensive name for me, worse than the previous one. I felt like the glasses I wore made me an outsider for some sort of a monster. My gaze slid across the drawings hanging on the walls. I couldn't consider myself a great artist, but Olia begged me to hang them. Drawing was the only thing that made me happy as of late. The small circle of friends had also enjoyed my paintings, and they promised to call me from time to time. Sometimes I imagined Mom picking up the phone and saying in a cold voice, "You've gotten the wrong number." Or, "Anton is not around. Anton is not around." I imagined my future classmates lying in their beds, just like me, listening to the howls of invisible werewolves outside their windows. Maybe my new classmates would like me after all. But who would ever like a boy with thick glasses? I'm friends with someone that has glasses. I mean, my dad used to wear glasses when he was little, and now he's married to the most beautiful woman on the planet, my mom. The house creaked, pressed by the wind. The condo we used to live in, a 9-6-floor concrete building, buzzed with a neighbor's drill, mumbled with a TV set from behind the wall, cried like a baby from the big family next door. Our current house, though I can't really call it new, was completely different. It was silent and easy going during the day. Its shadows lay dormant in the corners of the closet, cobwebs, and under the stairs, but they all woke up during the night. Sometimes it was watching me from every corner, almost as if old photos of my deceased family with their ashen eyes were hanging on the walls in place of my drawings. The floor was squeaking, rusty drains were moaning. The attic was occupied by noisy drafts. One could think that the house was performing some sort of demonic melody. And then I realized I was in fact hearing music. It was already playing for a good while. Somewhere at the edge of my perception, I could hear a flute. It was mixed with the sound of wind, the creaking old house, and my thoughts too. I stood up and rushed in the window. I wanted to reassure myself that the music was nothing more than a product of my imagination. It's not like someone is playing it there amidst the cold, snowy night, right? Oh, someone is dancing in the field. Those are like animals. Why are they on their hind legs? Black silhouettes I could barely make out in the dark forest as their backdrop. They jumped around, basked in the moonlight, bumped into piles of snow, rolled around and crawled on all fours. Stories about wolves playing under the moon came to mind, but these were clearly not wolves. They stood upright at times, circled around holding hands and whipping up snow, disappearing into the shadows of a brief moment and then coming back. Something bizarre was going on. Shadows dancing in the starless abyss made my imagination go wild, making me anxious at the same time. Suddenly, the music had stopped. The dancing shadows froze in place, and I could swear pierced me with their eyes. One of the silhouettes immediately parted from the bizarre shadow carnival and sprinted across the field with giant leaps. It gilded on squeaky snow without leaving any sprints until it was devoured by the pitch-black shadow of my house, which became even darker and thicker. My heart was pumping around like the bird inside a cage. I shut the curtains with a swift motion and stepped back toward the bed. They saw me. A freezing torrent of fear washed over me. I stood in the middle of a perfectly dark room and listened to some unwanted guest move and scraper around looking for an entrance. She moved. The sound moved to the right. This then circled around the house. Now my guest should be at the front door. I pumped into the bed and covered myself with the blanket as if it could protect me. The shackles of fear locked my muscles. I remembered the funeral of my grandma lying there, hands crossed on her chest, her facial features sharp like that of a tin doll, ants running up and down the legs of chairs that held my grandma's casket. I imagined those little creatures climbing up her head and pulling up her eyelids with their tiny legs. Then her wrinkly eyeballs would once again move inside their sockets. She'd be able to see her grandchildren. What the hell kind of mind does 12-year-old have? Like, what is this 12-year-old going through? And I think what I'm seeing from this so far is, I don't know. I was chanting the spell she taught me throughout the whole procedure, and now lying under the blanket and listening to squeaks and howls, I was repeating the same words. On the island of Boyne, underneath the blemished sun, in the sea of color, blue stands a cabin made of wood. There lay lard and ashen hair for the spawn from the devil's lair to feast, and always leave alone God's faithful servant named Anton. Is that your name? Yeah, probably. Evil leave this house must. Ashes to ashes, dust to dust. Bizarre sounds had disappeared. I cautiously peeked out from under the blanket and saw curtains waving around like a hangman. And then the night doused me with a new portion of boiling terror. The sound scratching at my eardrums. In reality, something or someone was scratching at the front door, hurriedly clawing at wood, demanding to be let in. The door was shut. Dad, I come very cautiously for me to. He installed a sturdy lock. I remembered him staring at the forest intently as if he was looking for someone. Ashes to ashes, dust to dust. I hugged my knees, placing my chin between them, and drilled the door with my eyes. It was so flimsy and weak before the might of darkness. And then the door knob twitched slightly. Then it turned halfway, once, twice, as if the person who tried to enter had no hands. The doorknob tilted once more, and then started clicking violently. My jaw clamped up from fear. My wet fingers clutched the blanket. The door creaked wide open. The wind taunted me, moaning inside the tin drains. Now, you'll see. The door was wide open. The darkness writhed inside the corners of the mouth of the doorway. As it was the night of itself was calling out to me, flapped its black wings and squeaking with rusty hinges. I was trembling, ensnared by the web of darkness that hung in the corners of my room, waiting for the one who weaved it to come out of the gaping black hole. Tom. My abdomen tightened and my chest rose up, ready to exhale and desperately scream. But before I was able to do anything, the darkness asked me, "Tony, you asleep?" My sister's pale face protruded from the thick shadows. I almost screamed from relief. "Olia, are you not sleeping? Did something happen?" Olia frowned and stuck out her lower lip, a clear sign that she was about to cry. "It's there again, staring at me." Shoo her away, Tony, please. Shoo her away, Tony. I'm so scared. The fear that was tormenting me just a minute ago crawling away and hid somewhere in my stomach. I needed to calm Olia down. It was just a dream, silly. Don't be scared. Dreams don't bite. No one's going to harm you. Olia sobbed. She was trying her best to believe me, but I was sure of myself. I have no idea. Let's go to your room and watch the video, Sleeping Beauty, for example. You like that cartoon, don't you? Why does Sleeping Beauty have a prince and I was this scary bird? That question took me by surprise. Alright, let's watch Cinderella. My thoughts became tangled and fuzzy. What was that? What studied me with its eyes while dancing feverishly under the moon? The darkness was clinging to the window, and it couldn't be fooled by Grandma's old chants. It could be satisfied with a feast of large and long ashen hair. Okay, whatever's going around on here has to do something with their grandmother. How she knew she was gonna die, like she prepared a coffin and everything. Tony, you coming? Yes, just a moment. Oh my god! Am I dead? I'm not dead, okay. Bad dream. That's why I didn't want to laugh to Olia and her owl in the morning. Who could be visiting us here in the middle of nowhere? We don't know anyone around here. So persistent. I felt extremely unsettled just from a silly thought that our morning guest could have come from the woods. I could barely hear voices coming from the front door. My mind was arguing me to hide in the closet, under the table, behind the curtains where Olia was hiding. Olia always hides. Tony, come here. I felt like bells were tied to my feet, but still dragged them toward the hallway. A couple of policemen towered over me in the doorway. They smelled like frost and worry. My mom always winced and grumbled at the moment she saw patrol cars, worse than bandits. At the moment, though, she looked somewhat confused. Hello? The senior officer, who wore a grim expression, nodded. The boy had gone missing yesterday. His name's Vova. Look at this, please. Have you seen him? The policeman held out a photograph to me. There was a ginger boy around the age of elementary school, pictured with a small carpet as the backdrop. He had a striped cat in his hands and wore a wide smile. No, I haven't. Are you sure? Look closely. Where I would see him. Where would I see him? I don't know anywhere around here. I barely leave the house. Well, maybe you've seen him from the window. That's right, your windows look straight to the forest, don't they? The window. No, I haven't seen anything. I see. He sounded tired, but his eyes. He stared long and heavily, was full of suspicion. I squirmed unwittingly under the weight of guilt, which of his giant shadow cast over me. The policeman finally tore his eyes from me and glanced over the hallway, the stairway, and the cracks in the ceiling, which I haven't noticed before for some reason. How do you like your new place, by the way? Getting used to it? Bit by bit. It's just sort of little daughter missed the city a lot. Other daughter misses the city, huh? Have the locals been treating you well? Yes, everything's alright, thank you. The policeman pierced through me one more time with his gray eyes. My head started spinning. Can I help you with that somehow? I asked that in a shaky voice to look like a polite boy and attend his unpleasant conversation sooner. Now that I think about it, you look like one of those nephews, little fella. He's a witty boy around your age, wears the same type of goggles, always engrossed in reading those mystery novels. Told me he wanted to enroll police school when his family visited this summer. He wanted to help other people just like me. See? I felt uncomfortable, as if a distant relative and not a police officer stood before me. You know what? Little boys like you should try it at home. Steer away from trouble. The times have changed so much. Mom interjected in a cold voice. You don't say. Oh, well then. What grade are you in, Tony boy? 6th. Have you made any friends here so far? Not yet. I'll be going to school for the first time after the break. Oh, then I'll leave you my number just in case. Call me if you get any new info. The policemen were gone already with their shadows, the smell of cheek cologne, and the photo of the smiling boy. His face still stood before my eyes. I wondered I wondered what it was like for him being all alone there. Jesus. For some reason I thought of the forest swaying in the wind. What did his poor parents feel? And what would my parents do if I'd gone missing? Would they cry and thrash around hysterically? Or would they accuse each other like they always do and forget about me eventually? Mom, this Bovid, did he go missing in our forest? Seems like it, poor child. I looked out the window at the road. The police UAZ drove off toward the village. The officer's nephew came to mind when I was splitting off old paint from the windowsill. I remembered that all the teenage mystery novels from the Black Kitty series I've read this summer. Your average boys and girls investigate all sorts of mysteries there. They looked for clues, spied on suspicious people, and after a set of amazing adventures, bam, solved any complicated case. They became local celebrities and must have made their parents very proud. I noticed a trail of policemen's footprints had led to the forest. And then it clicked in my head. Why don't I start an investigation on my own? That's a terrible idea. You're 12, okay? You're 12 trying to do a kidnapping. That's a terrible idea. Maybe I'll find that lost boy, and I'll get a reward. Olia might be so happy. And not only Olia, Mom and Dad too. Maybe they'll even forget about their quarrels for a while. Maybe I'll even save us from the D word. I fantasized about buying Olia a Tamagotchi and getting a cassette player and a bunch of tapes for myself. And a whole box of Kinder Surprise. When was the last time our parents bought us any toys? Last autumn, I think my dad had lost his job at the time. There's that annoying song about it. I had a little to do, no idea what was the accountant's job like. They count money, I think. Neighbors used to envy us. But nowadays, Mom and Dad barely had money to afford sweets, and Dad would always divide a single chocolate bar between me and Olia. Sometimes I gave her my share too. No matter how much I wanted to eat sweets, she was still just a pipsqueak. I couldn't wait to go out looking for clues. I'm going outside. Yeah, right. You want the police to go around with your photograph next? The forest is so thick. What if the boy got snatched up by wild animals or something even worse? Even worse echoed through the hallway. I won't go far. I'll stay away from the forest. Did you hear what I said, or should I repeat myself? Better go pack your school bag or play with Olia. The sound of splashing water came from the kitchen. It meant that the argument was over and Mom had the last word. Front yard, kitchen. What's in here? Dark, stuffy closet. Mom says it smells like mice, but how would she know their smell? She hates when I stick my nose in there. She's afraid I'll cut myself on the freshly sharpened axe. Olia can't even be lured close to it. She thinks Bye-Bye is living in there. I tried to help her fight her fears once. I opened the door and turned on a dim lamp so she would see there was nothing but cobwebs, Dad's stool, and scratched walls. She still didn't believe me. And I like to hide in the closet and listen to Olia count outside. 1, 2, 3, better hide from me. And then drag her feet on the cracking floorboards, hoping that she wouldn't need to look for me in the cramped monster's den. Okay, kitchen. Open. Open. Grandma kept ice cream for me and Olia there, but now I could only see meat bits for soup and comb together. How many? I grew to hate them already. Hello. It was difficult to lie to Mom, but there was no other way for me to run away from home. Mom, something wrong with the TV. The picture is dim and there are stripes all over the screen. Mom's face became visibly distorted. You're killing me here, so you had enough of shooting those stupid ducks now? Told you the kinescope will go dim because of your console. Where will we find a TV technician in this hall, huh? Maybe it's just the settings. Please go see for yourself. Strange, it worked fine in the morning. Maybe the snowfall caused it. Mom rubbed her hands clean on her apron and went to Olia's room. Outside we go! I opened the front gate and went into the field, carefully so Mom wouldn't see me from the window. When I crossed half to the distance toward the forest, the snow piles become as high as my knees. That's Canada for you. I remember my nightly fears. Actually, Canada's higher. Snow. I saw those silhouettes around here. They were jumping around, holding hands. That hypnotized music started playing in my head, all on its own. In the light of day, those distant figures felt like a simple dream. The sun turned my nightmares to ash, but the aftertaste was still there, distant ringing in my ears, distorted shadows crawling on the snow alongside me, and barely audible whisper in my head, blurry and almost kind. Everything was silent. So silent I felt the world was totally empty. No ground, no sky, no parents, no Olia. No time reached its limit, and a one-way trip that ended the forest piney stockade. Sometimes silence was much scarier than any scream. Our parents would scream at each other while arguing with both me and Olia turned to stone, listening to them. But then always came the ringing silence. Our apartment became numb a couple of days before we departed. It was hard to remember that the last time Mom and Dad joked around, laughing, or spent time together almost felt like all of it was in a previous life. When they kissed with Olia present, she was frowned and snorted in a funny way. But one day, all changed. Something important had left our home, and something scary filled the remaining void. Was it Grandma? Like she was like the one protecting them from all this dark, whatever these are. Is it like Olia got her fears right after Grandma died? It makes sense. It was as if the fire broke up and our parents were hurriedly packing our belongings, trying to save themselves and us. From who though? Oh, you know what it might be is cause the parents are having arguments, going through divorce and stuff like that. The kids, it's making their mind go wild. So it's turning a normal thing into something crazy. Outside, what he could have just seen as a pack of the night where he looked out the window. It could have been just a pack of wolves. They live in the wild. It's probably common. But to him, since his mind is going wild with everything that's happening in his life, school starting soon, parents going through all this stuff, Olia having fears, maybe thinking maybe they're true. That could make a mind go crazy. So this could be all in their head. From the people with dead cold eyes who sometimes visited us in our previous home, the eyes that only saw balls of worms on the blanket, ground, and everything. And somewhere far away, a siren was going off, trying to warn us of the coming menace. I shuddered, chasing away my delusions and looked around. There were only me and this white field and the wind that was wiping up icy dust and built of powdered snow. I squinted from the sun and turned my eyes to the sunless forest. It looked especially dark in the contrast with the blinding whiteness. Knobbing tree roots slithered under the snow like fat snakes. Rotten leaves and coniferous needles froze into the nose. Dry, prickled branches entwined, bringing up uncomfortable thoughts about fences. Were they protected the forest, or were they keeping sometimes from breaking out? Some object was hanging from pointy branches. I tried to get closer, drowning in snow, and when I almost got the edge of the forest, I saw a knitted mitten. It looked like a wounded bird among the hungering semi-dark. Should I take it to the police? The senior officer looked gloomy, but it still reminded me of a Captain Casanova from my favorite TV show called The Streets of Broken Lights. How much TV do you watch? He was alone. He was also always anxious with the tired look in his eyes, but still brave and strong. While this mitten helped them find the lost boy, Vova. I heard a distant shout, looked like it came from the river. Vova! As if the trees were calling out to someone. Vova! Sounded closer to me. Someone was standing there behind the trees, hiding. Vova! I knew someone was looking for the lost boy, but still, something was unsettling about the figure. Its stillness, how it was bent unnaturally toward the ground. Its blackness. There's no one there, just branches and roots. It's all just my imagination. A nearby bird flapped its wings loudly. The heck? A shadow split from the tree and disappeared from my sight. I looked away for just a moment, but when I turned my gaze back to the same place, it was gone. So it was my imagination after all? Silence reigned up for a painfully long time. My muscles were tightly sprung, my heart was beating, somehow in my throat. Run. This is when you run. Any noise, any little movement, any small whisper from the thicket, and I'd sprint. But nothing of the sort happened. I looked at the mitten once more. It ran away. Lumps of snow fell from the branch that reminded me of the snowstorm makes when you throw it into the pit on top of a casket. I immediately felt dizzy, as if I was bouncing on a precipice. I slowly backed away from my finding. It felt like the moment I touched it, the trap would spring, and the mouse would get caught. Someone stepped out of the ice behind me, close by. My inner voice whispered, "Save yourself, run." My nerves got the better of me. I ran, burying my head in my shoulders. Someone was chasing me from the darkness, breaking my pine branches, closing the distance with giant leaps. Someone was slowing me down. Crazy thoughts flew through my mind. I'll get up. They'll get me. I'll get dragged into the thicket. I'll be gone forever. But there was one more voice, probably one of reason. It gave me strength, spurred me on. "You can do it. Don't stop." I heard an animal roar behind me. It was so loud my ears went numb. It felt like the sound had come from a pack of hungry beasts rather than a single one. Their nostrils sucked in a freezing air. They sensed my fear. Two giant wings flapped above my head. An enormous shadow flew over the clearing, a hoot of wheeze. The roars were coming from the directions now. From the dried-up raspberry bush, from the twisted pines, from under the windfall. Hurry, run, don't look back. It felt like I was inside a nightmare. The snowy clearing became vicious like quicksand. I I was stuck in a place. I pulled my leg from the mushy trap that just caught me in a new one, even deeper than before. I continued to drown, sinking deeper and deeper with every desperate push. It was in snow ever this sticky. I screamed in horror after realizing this wasn't snow. Someone or something in the snow pile was clutching my pants. I gathered my strength and rushed forward. The pressure of my leg was gone. My boots slipped out of the hole, and my soles were on the surface again. I reached the clear path with one jump, and from there ran into my house. It's been I'm not there facing me. The house was my line of defense from the shadows that flapped their wings and were hidden under the snow. I tripped over the doorstep and smashed into the door. In all my hurry, I still managed to notice the claw marks, as if a dog was striking the wood at its paws to make me feel that so I could escape the cold. I hadn't noticed these marks when I was leaving. The heartbeat in my ears was much louder than my surroundings. I couldn't hear whether someone was following me or not. What if they were already in our front yard and Mom had locked the door? Drowning in fear, I pulled out and immediately gave away. I rolled into the hallway and shut the door behind me. Porch planks creaked as my pursuers ascended the stairs. My fingers slipped off the lock and couldn't click it into place. I gritted my teeth and pulled hard on the iron knob, whipping it between the boards. I stared blankly at the door. Someone was standing on the other side of its pitiful, flimsy barrier that was probably less useful than the blankets. Would I have died if I grabbed the mitten? Wheezing breaths reached into the house and crashed at me in waves. I smelled of pine and sweat. Mom peeked out of the kitchen and chastened me with the same frigid voice she always used when talking to Dad. What exactly didn't you understand when I told you to never slam the door? I didn't mean to. I snuck a glance at the door. The smell was gone and her breath was too. There was someone in the first place, of course. Here, mere 5 minutes away from Mom, my fear was slowly weakening, melting like snow in spring, and with it, the last bit of strength had left my body too. My legs gave way. I propped myself up against the wall so I wouldn't fall over. My expression had changed immediately. The cold mask of strictness and detention was gone. Mom looked the same as before all those quarrels. She finally saw my condition, my wet pants plastered with snow. Where have you been? What did I tell you, huh? I told you to stay home. Am I nothing to you? I got afraid she would cry. I reached out to her like when I was very little and wanted her to cuddle me. But Mom regained her composure fast and put on her usual face. Her eyes shined like steel. Her voice rang out. Your dad couldn't find his cigarettes. Be honest, did you snatch them or were you smoking them in secret? There was someone chasing me, I thought. I started as soon as I started explaining myself. Tears rolled up in my eyes. Mom leaned towards me and sniffed my clothes like a beast, searching for the smell of tobacco. Then she squinted her eyes in suspicion and looked in the front yard. Her expression changed in an instant, and she covered her mouth with her hand. She looked over there at the fence. My heart started pumping as if I became prey once again, and my pursuers were following me in the field. I could swear that I heard something scratch at the door, just like my nightmare. My mom beckoned me with her finger, and I gathered all of my remaining bravery to look in the kitchen window, facing my fear. See, it is imagination. See, it is just a pack of wolves that he probably saw them. I could barely discern hairy silhouettes swimming in snow through the city winter patterns on the glass. This is all in his head, probably. Dogs. Just a small pack of strays with no name, no owner, barely reminding of the hungry monsters that live on the edge of the forest. Oh boy, were you scared of them. I think they'd rather be scared of you, Anton. They were chasing me like a bunny. And what if they're rabid? The smile had slowly disappeared from Mom's face. Now she looked at the dogs as if they were her first time seeing them. What if they attacked Olia? Mom, I wish your dad could just shoot them all. Mom, look, they're alive, huh? What? Are they your friend or foe after all? Make up your mind. You're not a little kid anymore. Mom sighed in annoyance and felt so bitter that I bit my lower lip and fixed my gaze on the cobweb-ridden corner. This is weird. Well, some detective I am. In reality, I was risking my life among monsters, but rather my pants among a pack of stupid strays. I wanted to sink through the floor from embarrassment. Come here, my boy, cried Wolf. Don't just stand there. Come and take your pills. A golden-colored pill reminiscent of dead wasp fell into my palm. I already took one during breakfast. Don't talk over me. I told you to stay home and you do. Dad wouldn't have given you a good whipping for that. Come on, take it, or you won't be able to sleep at night, and you have to school tomorrow. So I had to swallow the bitter and medication, drinking it down with a similar really awful water that gave off a taste of chlorine. Gross. Maybe it wasn't Vova's mitten. Maybe it wasn't a mitten after all. Just like the forest monsters. Only it was owl. Am I going mad? It wouldn't be a surprise that it's always going through. What's happening to me? Either the pill had an immediate effect or my overexerted brain didn't let fear inside anymore. Serenity washed over me, bringing on indifference along with it. Anton, you done? See, you can do it when you try. Take off your coat. Take off your coat. Are you asleep? No, Mom, I was just thinking. What about, I wonder? It's just something silly. Mom's eyes with me as the switches eyes. As if she wanted. Oh, God, I keep pressing right click instead. I'd look at her inside and not doppelganger that came from the forest. Is everything alright? You had the exact same expression when the policeman asked you about the window. I'm alright, Mom. She heaved a deep sigh. Fine. It seemed like the house had changed. The sofa's fabric had become discolored. Fingerprints had appeared on the bathroom tiles. The light bulbs also felt different, dimmer and yellower. And even the saliva inside my mouth had a different taste. Yeah, he's going crazy. A melody from Aladdin couldn't be heard from the upper floor. Olia was done rewatching her favorite Little Mermaid episode and switched to other tapes. I slowly changed into my home clothes and stopped before the sink and studied my reflection in the mirror, like I was going to solve one of those spot in the difference puzzles. Well, before anything else crazy happens, I'm gonna have to end this episode here. I'm not sure how much there is left in the prologue, but it's a cool game. Cool game. This first episode is free on Steam, so if you guys want to play it, feel free. But see you guys in the next episode. I might do a second episode to finish it. I don't know, because like this is a thing where there's multiple endings. So I could play this prologue. Like I could get like 3 episodes in this prologue just to get like all the different endings. So yeah, I won't be doing the other episodes, so I might just get the endings in this episode. So, but I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye.